Everybody loves the idea of keeping their first home as a rental until the AC dies. We're going to talk a little bit more about if you should keep your first home as a rental or if you should buy before you sell, and kind of those questions that we come across a lot of what do I do with this property? I think everyone should keep their first home as a rental, but most of the time they're never in a position to do that. Like, what are some of the things that stop people from keeping their first home as a rental?
Just if it's not paid off, just the mortgage, carrying costs for two while you're vacant.
Yes. They might have over purchased, or they're maybe selling too quickly. They haven't owned it long enough, or they want to do the American dream and buy the big fancy house next.
Yep.
So they need all the equity from the last house.
Right.
And that kills me every time, because they could be building assets for the future, but instead they're going to over leverage themselves.
That's kind of your story of.
Yes, I could have a whole portfolio.
Before.
I wish we would have kept more of our homes as rental properties, but we just didn't know. We had no idea. And the crazy part, we had a VA loan. Like, we were putting no money down on each house, and we had equity in the market. It was a whole thing. But
I had my first house. I had like $20,000 left to pay on it, and I need the equity.
No. So we've all been there.
And it was a golf course lake.
Stop it.
Yeah.
We've all been there. So talking about, what do you need to know in order to make your first home be your rental? One of the things is, does it actually cash flow? That's important.
You want to look at the cash flow. A lot of our properties, whether you're an intentional investor or maybe you inherited a property.
Yeah.
Typically those are paid off.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have a mortgage, which makes it easier.
Yes.
Then we just rent it out and you generate a monthly income. The big thing is, do you want to keep the family tied to the house? It's part of generational wealth.
Yep.
You can keep the house. The family gets to keep it, and they'll be there as long as they want to keep having the property, but also generate a monthly income. So it's kind of what are your goals in life?
Yes.
What do you want to do for you and your family, and what are you trying to set up for everybody?
And you've already lived in the house, so you know everything about it. A lot of times people are afraid to purchase a rental property because they think it's going to be a lemon and they're not sure. So when it's your first home, you've lived in it, you've probably done a lot of maintenance and upgrades and things to it. So keeping it as a rental is a great option.
Do you want to come back to it?
Right. Yeah. Are you emotionally attached?
A lot of transfers, and I get transferred out of state for 5 years, and
you want to come back to that house? Yes.
I mean, we had a rash of those owners where they got gigs out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So they worked 3 to 5 years out of the country, and we had 3 of them move back last year,
mm-hmm.
all in 1 month.
Oh, that's
and so we had to get the tenants out. Their leases were up, and they were moving right back into their own house. They loved it.
Which is, that's really great, because then they didn't lose. They had all that equity over time that they were paying down and increasing appreciation.
The house was in better condition than when they left it.
I bet it was.
So
asking if it's in a renter-friendly area is always good, like how are schools and all of that. Sometimes your first house may not be a good candidate for a rental property. Right. We're not saying every house, but if you've got opportunity to keep it, I think you should.
Watch out for HOAs, the covenants for those.
Yes.
A lot of neighborhoods, they require maybe only 20-30% of the houses can be rentals.
Right.
If it is a rental, you got to live in the house for a certain amount of time, or you got to have a minimum lease requirement. You got to look at the covenants and see what is allowed and not allowed.
Right, because you may not be able to rent it out even if you wanted to. When life hits hard, late payments, medical bills, job loss, or even the need to move quickly, many homeowners feel trapped. The fastest way out seems to be selling to a cash investor, but that means giving your home away for pennies on the dollar. You don't have to do that. Nearly half of homeowners today are equity rich, and that value belongs to you. With our One Move program, you can unlock that equity immediately, get cash in hand now, and still share in the upside when your home resells. Or, if you'd rather, We'll shop your property to multiple cash buyers so you can choose the best offer instead of settling for one low bid. Go to DunnDealOffers.com and discover the smarter way to get cash fast without losing the equity you've worked so hard to build.
Ever had to leave work to deal with a problem at your rental property? Wonder when the rent check will arrive? Interrupt your family fun to make repairs? Do you worry when one of these issues will happen to you? Maybe it's time for a change, a chance to do the things you want to do. With Real Property Management, the nation's trusted leader in property management, you'll get more from your rental property without the headaches and hassle. We fill vacancies quickly so you can spend time doing the things that are important to you. We screen tenants thoroughly so you can have peace of mind. We collect the rent so you can pay your bills on time. We provide cost-effective, reliable maintenance so you can spend time with your family. We conduct frequent evaluations of your rental property so you can feel comfortable knowing your home is being maintained. We handle evictions so you can avoid confusing legal forms and time in court. We provide online statements and regular communication so you always know the financial status of your property and feel in control. And through training and support from a nationwide network with over 25 years of experience, we stay up to date and lead the industry so you can sit back and let us handle the details. Don't spend your time unclogging toilets, chasing down rent payments, and learning how to comply with property management laws. The professionals at your Real Property Management office take on the hassles of property management so you don't miss out on the things and people important to you.
We have so many people that just want every penny squeezed out of that house to go buy the next one. And, buying before you sell is always a question that we get, because for us, we love it because we get them out of the house and we can really prep and do the house. But if they can't carry both payments, then it starts to get a little bit tricky. What's really cool with Luke, who's been on this show in the past, he's got a really great program where you can buy before you sell. They help leverage the equity you have in the home to then go buy as a down payment, which is great. It makes your moving a lot less rushed. You can kind of move on your own timeline. And it gives you better flexibility as a buyer because you're not being contingent on selling your home. You're unlocking equity to go buy. But you have to be able to cover both mortgages.
Right.
If you can't do both, especially if you're upgrading and buying a bigger house. Now, some people can do it, which is great. They don't have to worry about the contingency of selling your home if you do one of those programs. But if you are contingent on selling your home to buy, most sellers they've been burned too many times. They don't want to accept your contingency usually. The best time to do that usually is if you're buying new construction. You don't get the contingency, but you have so many months for new construction to build out that the contingency doesn't matter to the builder. So a lot of times they'll let you contract on a new home even though you have a house to sell.
Right.
That's probably the only time I really like to do home sale contingencies. And then just making sure that your cash flow personally isn't just disappearing, because we had a client that they did buy new construction. They built a house and they still hadn't sold their house with their realtor before, and it was sat for 9 months. And then we came into the picture, and at that point then they were turning going, we might actually have to rent it out because we need some sort of money because our cash flow is completely going out the door. Luckily we rented it, or we we listed it and sold it within 2 months, which was really great. It was during the winter time, so they'd missed the whole summer market. But it still happened and everybody was happy at the end of the day. But that's usually the nightmare case, is not having it sell at all. And the market did shift under our feet during that whole process. Like, it's not necessarily the fault of the other agent. We just were hoping it would get better. Everybody's always hoping it's going to get better. But when the market's shifting under your feet and you don't have enough data to show the seller, like, we got to be more aggressive with our price because everything's failing, you kind of get caught up. And we got caught up with some of our listings, did the same thing. So that's a risk you kind of run if you try to buy a house first. Sometimes they'll go, well, I've got 6 months to make this work.
Right.
But then you wash out your whole cash flow, your whole savings. Is it worth doing that? Or just list it for rent?
For us, though, if you look at it as far as rentals concerned, it's kind of like an investment
Right.
with your corporate.
Yeah, like a 401k or something.
You're going to have your tenant. They're going to pay 80, 90, 100% of your mortgage. Your house is going to appreciate. You get all the tax benefits of all the expenses and everything. So for us, it makes perfect sense to rent the house. Don't just let it sit there.
They just don't have the down payment. That's the
Right.
problem. That's usually where they get caught up. They just need the down payment for the next house, and
Right.
then it would make sense. So save up for your down payment.
Right.
Like the good old days. Save up for your down payment. Keep your house. Don't make an emotional rash decision to buy and sell at the same time because your friends just did it. And, intentionally put money aside for a down payment.
Right.
Maybe cut off a couple Starbucks here and there, or like a vacation once a year or something, like.
It's getting serious.
But if you really want to actually be intentional about building wealth, you have to make some sacrifices, right?
Right.
You don't, unless you just have a really great income coming in, most of the time you're going to have to tighten up somewhere. But I think it makes way more sense to hold on to that property and build that
I
wealth
agree.
over the long period of time. Because it takes 10 years for a house to like get 300%, appreciation or something
Right.
crazy. It's outrageous that even if you can make it 7 years, I'm not necessarily saying you have to hold it forever, but if you've only owned the home for 3 years, you probably need to hold on to at least 7 to even see any sort of equity gains. And then at that point, it's gravy. Like you're making so many equity gains year over year over year at that point, the compounding
Right.
appreciation. And that's when they sell and just take that money and blow it. And then I get stuck trying to sell it with no equity in the house. There are bridge options for buy before you sell. Every lender I've talked to doesn't necessarily love them, but there are ways to bridge loan and do all that. It just costs a lot of money. I don't think it makes sense. If you necessarily can't afford to go from a program where you can use your current equity in your house as leverage and you need to bridge it, you may not be the best candidate for buying a new, bigger house right now. Like if it costs that much money, you might need to stop and reassess where you're at. The only time I see that being a big issue is if someone's relocating and they got to do 2 moves kind of thing.
Don't overextend yourself.
Yes, don't overextend your house. But everybody gets really excited about the fancy thing. I can't tell you how many people tell us, this is my budget. Then we show them houses and they don't like what their budget buys them. And then they want to go get a better, bigger house for more money.
Well, here's my new budget.
Yeah, here's my new budget. I talked to the lender. I'm going to put more money down. I'm going to overextend myself and get a nicer house instead of, okay, I don't really love what my budget gets me right now, but I'm going to turn this into a rental eventually. And I'm just going to do this for the next 3 to 5 years.
Right.
But no one thinks like that. They get emotionally excited. They want to keep up with the Joneses and have the really, really nice house. Anything else we're missing for this one? Talk to the experts.
I don't think so.
Talk about everybody's situation so different, right? Like for one person, it may make sense for them.
They're
never the same. So sit down, talk to us. We collaborate all the time. If I don't think it's a fit for me, I'm kicking them over to you. Like there's so many times where the numbers don't make sense on my end, but it's like, well, let's talk about the rental side of it,
right?
And look at that option, and then from there make a decision. I can't tell you how many sellers lately we've sat down with, showed them numbers, and they're like, "This is not a good time for me." That's fair.
Especially when the market's kind of like what it's been.
Yeah, it's not been fabulous. No, people moving right now are the ones that have to move. And so then we have to be really, really smart about it because we don't want them to lose any more money than they're potentially losing in equity because of the market. So sitting down with an expert, being honest about your true situation, what your goals really are, and then how do we build the plan to make it work?